Welcome to the Fantasy Syndicate Podcast with your hosts, Joshua Poniatowski and Alex Taylor. Let's talk football.
Hello, and welcome to the Fantasy Syndicate Podcast. We are back for the 2026 season. My name is Josh Poniatowski. Here with me, as always, co-host Alex Taylor. What's going on?
What up?
How's life? How's everything treating you?
Good. It's summer.
Good.
It's hot. And it's doing good, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. That's all we need to know. We got good lives going on. You all want to hear about football. So we're going to jump into it immediately. Today, we're going to be going over our 2026 top 10 quarterbacks. But before we do, we are going to be doing another autographed jersey giveaway this year. Whoop, whoop. You know, we had a
hit last year.
It was. Yeah.
JSN going out to Ross. He was hyped.
Yep.
He sent us a photo.
Congrats.
He had it framed.
Hopefully Ross is still listening and still with us because he could win another one this year potentially.
Could be our first back-to-back jersey winner ever.
Yeah. And even though he was the first jersey winner ever too.
Hey,
so yeah.
A lot of firsts.
But we haven't really decided on a player yet. We're still kind of cooking. We don't want crazy stuff to happen throughout the offseason. But just like last year, if you are subscribed, you like, and you comment, that's essentially how you'll be entered. Every comment will count as one entry. And then we're going to do a drawing at the end of the year. And whoever gets drawn out of the hat ends up winning the autographed jersey. So don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Now, before we get into the rankings, Alex, if you're okay with it, I would like to take a max of 5 minutes to quickly show my draft guide, like what I've been cooking up over the off season.
Let's do it.
I'm trying not to spend too much time on it, but I did want to show you this. I want to show listeners kind of a sneak peek. It's going to be dropping soon. And for those of you like listening and watching right now, Alex hasn't even seen this. So this will be like his genuine reaction.
I'll try to describe it with what my eyeballs are seeing for the audio only people out there.
Either he absolutely is going to hate it or he's going to love it. So this is Josh Poni's 2026 draft guide, one draft guide to rule them all. You know what that reference is from?
Yeah. Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. So Lord of the Rings reference. You got it. If you didn't know that, Kyle would have been pissed and there would be a lot of shame on your family.
He would not listen ever again. Okay, I like the cover.
All right,
cover page. 20.
So yeah, it's a
pages
little cover, little
okay.
intro. Yeah, we got a lot, and this is only half. I'm still cooking up the other half, but this is the final product I felt comfortable kind of showing, bringing out there. So let me just go ahead and kind of scroll down. So first thing it does, and again, I'm not going to go spend too much time on this because you have an opportunity to read it. Again, this will be 100% free. It goes over my personal draft strategy, really everything Alex despises as far as drafting for upside, Ricky Bobby, you know, the analytics part, and then not diversifying a portfolio.
Analytics are so boring.
Whatsoever. It just goes over my strategy, kind of my thought process.
What's the Mamba mentality? What does that one say?
So Kobe rejected the advice to not put all your eggs in one basket. Like he believed you go put all your eggs in one basket, you go for it all, and that's kind of that. Don't diversify. Take the guys that you like in every single league across.
But he's saying
all the
never
leagues.
put your eggs in one basket. He's saying the opposite. He's saying diversify your portfolio, which is what I advocate every year.
Not. He's not.
I just read it. You just said don't put the eggs in one basket.
He says he doesn't want that strategy. He says you can always make more eggs. You can always make more eggs, just like waiver.
I mean, I guess it depends on how many chickens you got, but yeah, sure.
It goes over my 2025 fantasy edges. For those people that are new, what did we talk about last year? What actually worked? Kind of build some trust there. For those of you that remember, I preached running backs win championships. Alex got sick of hearing it from me. And that's pretty much what happened last year. Running backs won a lot of championships for people. And this year, 12 running backs are taken in the top 18. So all the big guys, all the big fantasy football folks are talking about running backs now when me and Alex were talking about them an entire year ago. So it just kind of goes over some of that data, some of that information. Hey, we're not just some jamokes out here doing it. We got some information that is actually correct and will win you some leagues. All right. So the next thing is my 2026 edges. Okay. What are the 5 things that I'm going to be focusing on in drafts this year? How am I going to be drafting? Today, number 1, we're going to be ranking quarterbacks.
You're giving out the secret sauce here. Yeah, I see how it is.
I am. I'm giving it up. don't draft a quarterback until the 8th round or later. So that's number one, which we'll talk about here a little bit later. It goes over some draft guide, important notes, but you remember playing Call of Duty back in the day, right?
Of course.
Yeah. After you get 25 kills in a row, like what happens? What typically happens? Like what do you get?
I forget what it was called, but yeah, I mean like the ultimate kill streak. It's not the Black Hawk, is it? Or the
No, you get a tactical nuke. Essentially.
Oh, the tactical.
Sorry, my computer's like freaking out right now. You get a tactical nuke. So last year, one of our listeners, Nick, was like, "Who are the guys that you want to leave every draft with?" And I was like, you know what? The fact that you don't know that and you listen to us, we need to make it more clear. So what I've done is in my draft guide is I've chosen tactical nuke players, and these are players that are like, if you draft them and they hit, you're winning your league. So like the dudes that you get 25 kill streak, you're going to win your league. I have tactical nuke players that I'll be talking about in quarterbacks, running backs, wide receiver, all that kind of stuff. I thought that was a
multiple,
kind of cool
or is it like one
it.
Per position? Is there just like one nuke per position?
It could potentially be more than one, but I'm trying to look for like value picks, a part of it. Jahmyr Gibbs. Tactical nuke, right? Like that's not like something that gives you an advantage in drafts, but later round quarterbacks, later round tight ends might give you an advantage. I go over my process at each position with the data. Why am I thinking this way? What is my process? And then quarterback targets as well as tight ends. Who's my tier list? Who am I picking? Again, a little like this is a little giveaway at the moment on what I'm going to talk about. And then a player analysis of a breakdown of why I like them, what I like, and why
just kind of like a select few kind of thing.
Yeah, not every single player, just the players that I am focusing on and I'm trying to draft. Not everybody.
Well, do you see Dart has that nuke emoji going on?
He does.
So
yes,
that's nuke number one.
That is nuke number one. Jaxson Darts. You heard it here first, but. That's the draft guide. I'll be releasing that 100% free. What do you think? Good, bad, too much information?
I like that. I like that. It looked like it was like a little spiral notebook. It'd be kind of cool if you actually try to print that out or something. I actually made it a real spiral notebook. But yeah, it looked really cool. I'm excited to kind of dive into it and see the secret sauce all put out on the table like that.
Yeah, it's really putting me at a disadvantage for really every single league I play in because I'm sure everybody's going to read this and be like, I know exactly what he's doing. But again, we're doing this for y'all. Hopefully you get an advantage in your leagues, even though I'm going to have a huge disadvantage in every single one of my leagues. All right. We're going to jump into the quarterback rankings. Remember, my strategy is to not take a quarterback until the 8th round or later. So when I do my rankings, that's how I'm ranking these players. Just be aware of that situation. The good news is Alex will probably rank more of the top guys, and I'll be able to talk about some of the lower guys. So you get a good mix between the two.
I thought we were supposed to do the top guys. So I think you kind of pulled the rug out under me.
I did.
Different I like going on, but it's fine.
Yes. I like to do stuff differently, but that's an advantage for the listeners. So Alex, if you want to go ahead and kind of get started for us, I'm sure there's no surprise who it is.
Yeah, I don't know if you need a drum roll or anything. Yeah, Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills, the only true bona fide elite QB for me. I mean, to me, he's in tier 1 all by himself. Nobody else is really even close. Again, I agree. I don't think it's like I think it's a really deep quarterback year. I don't really plan on splurging for QB very often. But the only guy I would do it for would be Josh Allen. If you don't get him, then you just kind of punt the position almost. I could make a case for probably like 15 guys to be quarterback 2, but Josh Allen is the clear standalone above the masses. He's the elite top 2 finish for 6 straight seasons. Hasn't missed a game over that span. We got Joe Brady taking over the reins as head coach. They did bring in DJ Moore. He didn't really have any good receiving options last year, so it could be even better than last year. Again, not reaching for QB, but if there was one, it would be Josh Allen.
Fun fact, he's averaged 41 touchdowns rushing and passing per year during that stretch that you were talking about where he finished as QB1 or QB2. Just absolutely bonkers. If you want to, take a quarterback early, Allen's that guy. All right, well, my tier 1 quarterback 1, again, after the 8th round is my nuclear bomb, my nuke. It'll be Jaxson Dart. He is my QB1 on the list of I'm trying to get him everywhere. And the reason why is because Nick Rebar did a huge article about, I want to say in like 2013. And this is in my guide on what is called a Konami code quarterback. Have you heard that term before, Alex?
No.
Essentially, it means it's a cheat code at quarterback. And he's a cheat code because not only does he throw the ball, but he also has an insane rushing upside. And rushing obviously scores more points in fantasy because rushing touchdowns, rushing yards. Somebody like Dak Prescott doesn't get that advantage. He's a cheat code in fantasy. And Dart checks all those boxes for me because in 2025, he was 4th in rushing attempts, 3rd rushing yards, 5th in rushing yards per carry, 2nd in rushing touchdowns, 4th in rushing yards per game, and 5th in scramble rate. And he also only played 12 games during that span. From a fantasy perspective, he averaged 0.649 fantasy points every time he dropped back, which was only lower than Josh Allen and Drake May in 2025. His rushing upside, just bonkers. Malik Neighbors, obviously Scatabo, should be getting healthier, even if they're not 100% yet. Isaiah Likely is back. Greg Roman used to coach
not back,
for...
but brought in, but yeah.
Yeah. They'll get. Oh yeah, Likely. Was signed on a massive deal. It was like 4 years, like $13 million a year or something crazy like that. Excuse me. But Greg Roman was added also as the senior offensive assistant who he used to coach for Lamar Jackson. He actually helped Lamar win his MVP in the first year with 7 designed runs a game. I'm hoping he has some type of say in that situation and he's running more consistently. Literally, the only concern I have is that Matt Nagy, I just don't understand how he continues getting jobs and he's the offensive coordinator. But at 9th to 10th round pick, this is absolutely my favorite quarterback in 2026 with all the upside he brings and potential to finish easily as a top 5 quarterback, maybe top 2, top 3 situation.
Yeah, he was cusp for me, but I actually don't have him on my top 10 here. But like I said, he was fringe. Okay. And again, it was like the Matt Nagy connection.
Matt Nagy's terrible.
The coaching team and all that stuff coming in. I just want to kind of circle back to your philosophy or your strategy when you came up with this list of after round 8. In your mind, how many quarterbacks did you exclude?
Well, I don't know. How many are in the top 8? I mean, all the major ones are in the top 8.
Is it 8 rounds? Expected quarterbacks going in 8 rounds or is
ADP.
It top 8? Okay, but it's not like top.
Yeah, no.
8 quarterbacks. It's
just how many are expected in that one.
Yeah,
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's some fringe quarterbacks
probably
ADP's changing.
Probably like 5 or 6, probably.
Yeah, there's probably like 6, I would say.
Because even Josh Allen's probably not going to 3rd round,
Yeah, 3rd round. Yeah, but ADP is also shifting.
For sure.
Any of this advice is adjust accordingly. These guys I might talk about are going to be in the top, maybe like 8, 7, based on ADP. So you just got to kind of wiggle with it. But at the time when I was going through all this, they were outside.
You're good. I was just curious. So moving on to my number 2, the true number 2. And you had a little teaser with this guy's name here a second ago when you talked about his old offensive coordinator. But it's going to be Lamar Jackson. Kind of a down year for him last year. Lamar kind of feels like the CMC of the QB position, like bit of a wild card. One of only 4 guys currently playing that has multiple QB1 finishes in his career. If you can get him for a full 17-game season, chances are he's going to be right up there at the top. But it just seems like his season's kind of go off the rails very quickly. He also does have that new coach, Harbaugh left. We got Jesse Minter coming in. He's a defensive guy. So we actually got to watch the young guy that they got at offensive coordinator, Declan Doyle, coming up from Chicago. He was working with Ben Johnson. So we're kind of hoping for a little bit of exciting Ben Johnson kind of offense. We'll see what happens. I don't love Lamar's weapons in the passing game. They just re-signed Zay Flowers to a massive deal, but whatever, I don't really get it, but hey, good for you, I guess.
Yeah.
But with Lamar, obviously his legs are the real difference maker there. I'm not splurging early on quarterbacks, but he is my quarterback too.
Our quarterback too, yeah. Lamar's got crazy upside. We've seen him run for 1,200 yards. Still within my tier 1. My number 2 is Justin Herbert. He's been the what if king for every single year. What if this happened or what if this happened? But in 2026, I think he actually has a real path to being an elite quarterback. Last year, when Joe Alt was healthy, Herbert averaged 22.4 points per game, which was number 2 only behind Josh Allen. But he got injured. All these what ifs happened. But during that stretch of those games, the Chargers were top 5 in play action rate. And after that injury, they dropped to bottom 5 in the league in play action. And the reason why this is so important is because now come in Mike McDaniels, one of the better play callers in the NFL. in Miami with McDaniels. Miami ranked 8th in play action rate, 2nd in motion rate. And if you don't know, there's a handful of play designs that are cheat codes for offenses. That really elevates Herbert for me. 3 out of the 4 healthy seasons, Herbert has rushed for over 300 yards. He also rushed for right around 500 last year, I believe it was. He has rushing upside, and we know he has plenty of playmakers around him. QJ, Lad McConkey, who am I missing? Gadsden, Amarion Hampton. So he's got plenty of playmakers around him. I like him at his cost, and I think he's got an upside of quarterback 2, quarterback 3, quarterback 4, quarterback 5 range.
I agree. I do love Herbert, and I will chime in on him in a little bit later. So my number 3 is going to be Drake Maye. I mean, Maye exploded last year, his sophomore season, finished as quarterback 2. Only behind Josh Allen. So now New England has surrounded him with even better weapons than he had last year. They went out and they traded for A.J. Brown. They signed Romeo Doubs. He also was sneakily productive on the ground. He's got a little motion for a white boy, you know what I'm saying? He finished with the 4th most rushing yards among QBs, 450. Patriots did have that historically easy schedule last year, so we'll see how much of it was that. But I don't really see any reason why he should be regressing. He's still only, I think he's 23 or 24 years old, so I think he could do even better than he did last year. So he's my quarterback 3.
Dang, quarterback 3 is high, but I get it. He just finished as a QB 2 and almost an MVP. Still in my tier 1, my QB 3 is Jalen Hurts. Jalen might not fall to the 8th round. I get it. Every league is different, but he was right around 7-ish, so I'm including him in my list. If he drops a little bit, I think he's a huge value. Philly just added Sean Mannion as the new offensive coordinator. He comes from the McVay and the Shanahan coaching tree. This is a huge upgrade for the Eagles. Even though A.J. Brown left, they got Dontavian Wicks, 1st-round pick, Mekhi Lemon, my boy, wide receiver 1 in Dynasty. Don't at me.
Wow.
Eli Stowers. But the reason why I want to draft Hurts is because of his rushing upside, which, again, you're going to hear me talk about this as a trend. In 2025, on offense, through the ground, he had 30% less rushing attempts, 30% less rushing yards, 43% less touchdowns, and really the biggest one, he had 50% fewer carries. I think it was 48% within the 10-yard line. Essentially, we're talking about the tush push. He had 50% less than what he did in 2024. So even if we see somewhat reasonable bounce back in his rushing, I'm not saying he needs to go back to 2024 insanes, but even if he bounces back in any way, I think he easily sneaks into a top 5 quarterback range and has a high floor every single week. That's why I got him in my tier 1, just because quarterback 5 seems inevitable this upcoming year if his rushing gets a little bit.
Quarterback 5 does seem inevitable, and that will be just a little teaser for a little bit. But right now, I have my quarterback 4, which is going to be Joe Burrow. Josh, I know you hate a pure passer, but when he's healthy, Burrow is the best in the game at passing the football. I expect this offense to be humming again. Bengals, they maintain the elite receiving combo. Chase and Higgins are both back for more. Burrow's usually good to sling that rock at least 35 times a game. So you're getting the opportunity. Chase Brown gets used a lot in the passing game too, so there's kind of easy underneath yards, kind of rack it up. So yeah, I think Joe Burrow from just an elite passing situation is my quarterback 4.
Moving into my tier 2, I'm gonna go with my boy Brock Purdy. My number 4, tier 2. Kyle Shanahan is the best play caller of all time, arguably of all time. In games that Purdy fully completes, he finishes as a quarterback 1 in fantasy. If he is on the field, he's essentially finishing as a quarterback 1. That's his floor, right? Analytically, he's one of the best passers in the entire NFL, on par with Burrow and some of the greats in almost every statistical efficiency passing metric. He's one of the best, and I don't care what you have to say. He is one of the best quarterbacks, and sure, it does have to do with scheme, but there's some quarterbacks who have great schemes and still are terrible. Caleb Williams, which I'll talk about later. And then throw in your boy Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. Sure. It's a retirement home for pass catchers. I do not care because, again, Shanahan's calling plays. He could literally just pick up a random guy off the street. You want tight end? And be like, yeah, sure. I mean, look at Jake Tongs last year. He came in and crushed it. But the other reason is the Niners are projected to have top 10 in implied points from Vegas, and they actually project him to finish top 5 in passing yards and passing touchdowns. From a passer standpoint, the points are there, the play calling's there, and he's historically always finishes a QB1, and you're getting him late in draft. Absolute discount is my number 4 quarterback in tier 2.
Yeah, Purdy didn't crack my top 10, but he was close. He was fringe. I think he's probably about like the 11, 12 kind of range. Kind of him with that dart. It was kind of the two kind of guys I was kind of debating and sliding in, but ended up not doing it. But yeah, I mean, for all things are reason. I mean, the Niners, they're always putting up points. They can be a little frustrating at times where it's like, seems like Shanahan's really good at just figuring out like what one guy is going to break the game that game. So it's like, it can be a little like hot and cold for just the whole team, regardless of all of a sudden CMC's just getting like 40 touches. And the next thing you know, it's like Kittle's getting like a 150-yard, 3-touchdown game. And it's just like a little chaotic at times. But yeah, Purdy's great. And the 49ers are always scoring. My number 5, the inevitable Jalen Hurts. I mean, I get it. I mean, I've seen his stock tumbling all over the place. Like some people have him pretty low. Pretty low. Like the shine has worn off. I mean, I know you kind of went into a lot of the stuff. I mean, we lost AJ Brown, but then we added Micah Lemon. We got the new offensive coordinator. I don't know. I'm not going to kind of repeat everything you guys said, but I think the floor, and I like a good floor option.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't have that elite skill set that he kind of did a couple years ago. Maybe you're not, just whatever. People just don't believe it anymore. But that floor with the rushing upside, I got him as my QB5.
Okay. All right. So tier 2, my QB5 is Trevor Lawrence. So I have been a big T-Law hater for a very long time. Alex can attest to this. Christian, if you're listening, I'm not sorry. He did suck. But literally Liam Cohen came along. And again, talk about motion rate. Liam Cohen's 9th in the NFL last year. He was 9th in play action rate. Again, cheat codes. He literally came along and unlocked whatever potential was in T-Law with his scheme. Through the final 8 games of the season, T-Law finished as quarterback 1 with 24.4 fantasy points per game above Josh Allen, which is just so crazy to think about. He also ranked 3rd in rushing yards, 3rd in rushing attempts, and 2nd in rushing touchdowns, which insane for him. Expect those rushing numbers to regress a little bit. I get it. That's probably going to regress back to the mean, but he is capable of doing it. He's got the rushing potential, and he arguably is the best pass catching room in the entire NFL. They have 4 offensive starters returning on offensive line. Yeah, Parker Washington, BTJ, Jacoby, Brenton Strange. You could argue Tootin if
Travis
cases.
Hunter gets his season snaps.
Travis Hunter gets reps. We're talking 4 wide receivers who all are very good at football, a good offensive line. I honestly sometimes might take T-Law over Purdy just because T-Law has better rushing upside and ability, but that's why they're both kind of in my tier 2 situation.
Yeah, I love T-Law, and I will be talking about that a little later. I'm starting my tier 3, kind of from the beginning, tier 3. Number 6, Jayden Daniels. He's a little bit of a wild card. I know some people kind of have him a little higher. I mean, he's also a little bit of a disappointment last year. We've seen it. I mean, obviously his rookie year was electric. He was just going off, took his team to the NFC Championship. And then last year was just like a train wreck. 4 different injuries. He only started and then finished 4 games on the year. He'd go, he'd come back, he'd go, he'd come back, he'd go, he'd come back. I don't know. It was disappointing for kind of everybody. I mean, kind of hate to see that for the guy. But it's tough because he's got a little guy. So it's like you see him run around out there and he's really fast, but then you see him get smoked by some huge linebacker and you're like, ooh, it just makes you cringe. Can his body maintain long enough for him to recreate that near 900 yards rushing that he had his rookie season? I'd love to see it. My biggest question mark is also, does he have enough help from his receiver room? Scary Terry's now over 30 years old. They just signed 32-year-old Stephon Diggs. He did squeak out 1,000 yards with the Patriots last year. I kind of didn't even realize that when I looked up the stats. I was like, didn't seem like Diggs was a 1,000-yard receiver last year, but he only had the 4 touchdowns, so kind of, why he wasn't super fantasy relevant. His running back stable and his group of tight ends are both kind of lackluster. So if he does pop off, it's just because Jayden Daniels is just making it his own show and just blowing out on people. So if he can stay healthy, it could be fun. I don't know if that's possible or not. But that's why I have him kind of at my 6, which I think is maybe a little below consensus.
His rushing upside is just insane. And I know you're throwing shade at Scary Terry and Stephon Diggs, but analytically, those two were some of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Diggs won me a championship last year. They're old as dirt. They get the job done. They separate.
I'm not a little disappointment for me last year, but I get it. He didn't have his quarterback for most of it. He had to deal with Mariota for the majority of the season, but he was frustrated.
So Diggs definitely helps out Daniels. And I was looking at ADP. It looks like he's going around 6 or 7. I think that's value for sure. And I like that pick. Maybe I'd put him a little bit higher in top 10, but good pick. Caleb Williams, he is my next tier 2 quarterback, and I kind of begrudgingly put him on my list.
You're actually talking about him, eh?
So Purdy is one of the best passers in the NFL. You could argue that Caleb is one of the worst passers. Two opposite spectrums, but again, it doesn't matter because of play callers. Ben Johnson is an elite play caller. If you've noticed, almost every quarterback I've talked about has an elite play caller in some way. Ben Johnson, he was one of only 4 offensive play callers who ranked top 10 in motion, under center, and play action percentages. Again, cheat codes. Caleb ranked top 9 in almost every rushing metric for quarterbacks. And he obviously has a great supporting cast. Rome, Luther Burden, Colson Loveland. In a hypothetical world where Caleb Williams becomes Brock Purdy, QB1, QB2. Okay.
Wow.
In a world where he becomes slightly better, takes a step forward that we would hope a third-year quarterback does, top 5 quarterback, certainly. From a point per game perspective. I don't love the guy, but he's just in too good of a situation. And if he does get better, we literally just saw it out of T-Loss. If he does get better, you're going to be sitting pretty and win a championship in the back end of the league.
All right, next up, my number 7. You touched on him a little earlier. That's going to be Mr. Herbie Hancock, the newly engaged Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers. Off to a great, you talked about off to a great year last year until both starting tackles went on the IR.
Mm-hmm.
That was, it was rough, but it's a new year, and so we're hoping for the best here. Obviously, the most exciting element is that Mike McDaniel's addition as offensive coordinator. He's got that high pace. When Tua was healthy, they had an electric offense. When he was not healthy, the offense sputtered a lot, and they had some down times there. But overall, you're hoping for the best there. And the Chargers, they got a lot of young playmakers. We kind of talked about at all 3 positions. So I'm expecting big things from Justin Herbert this year.
I love Herbert as a pick, especially a value. All right, so we are moving into my tier 3, which means not drafting until after the 8th round. But this means if you've waited this long for a quarterback, you need to draft 2. You need to draft 2 of these guys, even in one quarterback's leagues, right? You take 2 players, you hope you hit on one. When I did this, a lot of these guys were going
We're also just playing
late.
Matchups, ping-ponging matchups,
Right, yep, based on, defensive and who they're facing, absolutely. When I talk about these guys, that's kind of where my thought process is. Now, starting me off here, tier 3 at number 7 is Kyler Murray. When I started writing this article and doing my research, Kyler was going in the 12th round. Since then, he is skyrocketed. I'm talking almost 30, 40 picks up draft boards, which is just crazy to think. But he's just skyrocketed. Take everything I say kind of with a grain of salt. I did love him at cost, but the higher he moves up boards, the less I like him. Anyways, Kevin O'Connell, good play caller. He was the QB whisperer until J.J. McCarthy came along. He already revitalized Sam Darnold's career. He really did. And including Justin Jefferson, right?
Yeah.
J.J. McCarthy ruined J.J. and ruined O'Connell's reputation as being quarterback proof, those two. But he revitalized Sam Darnold's career. Literally the next year he won a Super Bowl, which is just sad they didn't re-sign him. It's crazy, especially with all the troubles the Vikings had. But the data that I like with Kyler is his rushing ability. Again, over the past 3 years, he had a 0.509 fantasy points per drop back rate. He was top 10 in rushing attempts per game, top 7 rushing yards per game. And I think he easily has a potential to break 500 rushing yards a season with a couple touchdowns thrown in. He arguably has the best receiving room that he's ever had playing as a quarterback in the NFL. JJ, Addison, TJ Hawkinson, because of his rushing ability, and he at times has been a good quarterback throwing the ball. I just think this, again, late round pick was an easy snag if you truly waited and punted the quarterback position.
I get it. At least for the first half of the season until Call of Duty comes out.
Correct.
You're good.
he gets replaced, right?
At that value,
replaced,
it's fine. That value is fine. Start him hot, trade him away, flip him for somebody different. I get it.
He is on a 1-year deal, so I don't think he has the leisure to play Call of Duty anymore, or he's going to be a backup quarterback next year. Sometimes that can
when you're
kind of get a fire in your belly.
The ball is life. You do what you got to do. Yeah. And for him, ball is Call of Duty. Okay, moving on. Yeah. My number 8 is Dak Prescott. I just feel like he gets overlooked every single year, and all he does is just produce, albeit when healthy. Last season, he finished tied for 8th among quarterbacks in fantasy points per game. Dallas, they're returning most of the same offensive pieces. He's surrounded by plenty of weapons. CD, Pickens. He throws for a high volume of touchdowns, and he just rarely gets properly respected in the drafts. So I just feel like if you're waiting on QB 8, I think Dak's just a great value.
I got Dak on my list. I'll talk about him too. So yeah, I agree with you. All right, tier number 3, my 8 is Malik Willis, and you're going to be like, "What are you talking about?" But
who's he throwing to?
That's a great question. If you follow me on Twitter, I posted about Malik a couple times, about a month or so ago. The reason why he makes my list, Alex, why do you think he makes my list, if you had to guess?
Rushing?
Yes, because he runs the freaking football. In the later rounds, he is easily one of the best Konami Code quarterbacks. I might even just draft him for fun, even if I end up with Tart.
Can you explain this Konami Code thing to me?
Yeah, so Konami Code, for the older folks out there, it used to be a cheat code that you would essentially put in. It's from a 1986
Street Fighter?
Nintendo game. It's old. Yeah, it was like up, down, left, right, BA. It's actually pretty famous from the video game perspective.
Okay, sure.
But essentially, he coined the term, and it was a cheat code, right? So you get a rushing quarterback, you're getting a cheat code at the position. And a lot of rushing quarterbacks were undervalued early on because there wasn't a whole lot of them. So you could get guys like Malik Willis later, but now people figured it out. Josh Allen's number 1, Lamar Jackson's number 2, Drake May's number. All these rushing guys are in the top of the field. But Malik Willis checks this box, and he's going in round 12 or something ridiculous like that. He has an insanely small sample size, but over the past 2 years, he's averaged 6 yards per carry, a 32% rush rate, 15% scramble rate, which was number 1, and 6 rush attempts a game, a little bit over that. To put that into perspective, you remember 2022 Justin Fields. He was QB4 on a point per game basis. He averaged 7 carries per game, 10% scramble rate, and about a 33% rush rate. Talking about close, maybe you can get some cheats out of him. You got nobody to throw to.
How's this tush push game going to be? We don't know that yet.
Imagine if he finds success through the air, even a little bit. Upside is QB1, and I guarantee he will finish as a
QB1 or the QB1.
I wouldn't say the QB1. He will finish a week, maybe 2 next year as a quarterback 1. I have no doubt there will be a week that he will finish as a quarterback 1 simply because maybe he runs in 3 touchdowns, throws for, 150 or 200 yards.
Yeah.
It's a real, hit or miss kind of play, but at free, essentially, it is absolutely worth the risk when you punt the quarterback position. And if he figures out a way to pass the ball, let's say these guys, these rookie wide receivers, again, not going to happen, but are good. Maybe there's some world that he ends up, finishing top 10 seems realistic, but maybe, top 5 for some crazy reason.
All right. I'm here for the hype. Obviously the rushing upside is nice. He just has 0 reliable kind of pass catchers or proven pass catchers. But hey, you got to go out there and you got to do it and maybe make some plays. And then by the end of the year, we might be talking about some new guy that we didn't really, appreciate at the time. So moving on, my number 9, who you kind of talked about a little bit before, Trevor Lawrence. We finally saw that real progress in his first year with Liam Cohen, and I think year 2 of the same system, we can maybe see it all really come together and really pop off. The talent's been clear from the start. That's why he was a number 1 overall draft pick. The decision making at times has been a little shaky. Maybe some of the systems he's been in haven't really been favorable to him. But the Jags, they do have plenty of pass catching options for him and a very unproven running back room. So it could all fall kind of on T-Law to kind of air it out and keep slinging the rock to keep those chains moving through the air. So I think he could be a legit top 5 option for quarterback, and also just it could be a top 5 scoring offense in the NFL. And so if it could be an offense that's that potent with suspect running backs, it probably means that Trevor Lawrence is probably doing something good. So I get my quarterback 9.
T-Law. All right, my tier 3, another guy that I like is, you talked about him already, Dak Prescott. If you are in a 6-point passing touchdown league, he is one of my main targets. And the reason why is because we know he's going to be on one of the best offenses in the league, but the NFL has him as a top 5 implied point total. Vegas also has Dak projected to have tied for as many passing yards as Burrow and second in passing touchdowns, only behind Burrow. We know Brian Schottenheimer just runs one of the most pass-heavy offenses in the entire NFL. And if I had to pick between a Joe Burrow and a Dak Prescott, I'm picking Dak at 4 rounds later as like a Timu Burrow, and then taking a running back, wide receiver, tight end, essentially where Burrow might go. I just think at cost, he's great.
Yep. Everyone's always sleeping on Dak. All right, last up, my number 10. Y'all know I wasn't about to go leave off my boy, Baker Mayfield. You know, he was getting legit MVP discussion last year after week 6. We were 5-1. Everything was great. And then, unfortunately, things just unraveled very quickly for us. Listen, we had injuries galore. They were the bane of my existence last year. Yeah. 4 of our starting O-linemen missed at least 5 games. We never got to see all 5 of them play at one time at a single point in the season because somebody was always hurt. Bucky missed time, Evan missed time, Godwin, McMillan, they all missed significant time. And then there was Baker himself. Josh, I don't know if you watched the QB show on Netflix. It was great. Baker was great on it. But it also showed behind the scenes sneak peek at what he was dealing with. It was like every week something new was getting just tore up. The guy was like just dying out there on the field. His whole body was dead. But yeah, it's a new year, new me. If our O-line can stay healthy, I think we have a legit top 10 scoring offense. Yes, we lost Mike Evans, which was tragic, but we still are very deep at pass catchers. I did just see McMillan got flagged with something today, so we gotta monitor that. I'd be really disappointed if we lost McMillan again. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. But as long as we don't get effed again, I believe we can be a top 10 scoring team. So, and obviously with Baker at the helm and him producing for us.
Yeah, and Baker runs too. Like he's a great rushing quarterback. He could definitely be one of those value guys that you take. I would not be opposed to it. He wasn't on my list, but he checks the box. He doesn't seem like a good rusher, but he is. It's not like he's like electric fast, but he just is a hard-nosed runner, and he's not afraid to slip out of the pocket and make a play happen.
And it's not, he's not a runner in the sense where they don't really design runs for him
not
really ever,
runs.
But
right.
It's all just scramble stuff.
Yeah.
But he's wiry. He kind of he's not like blazing fast out there, but he makes it happen. But then it's also the downfall because then he gets himself beat up and then he gets hurt and
Right, he ends up getting hurt. Yeah.
So it's that's Baker being Baker.
All right, so my last quarterback in tier 3 at number 10 is Tyler Shough. Over the past 8 games of the season, he finished as QB8 in points per game. I talked a lot about this with you off air of the Saints were playing great football the last 8 games. Things were clicking. The defense, even though the season was over, the defense was showing up. Kellen Moore had them playing football, and I think they're going to be one of the bigger surprises this year. And I think Shough benefits from that. Kellen Moore also runs one of the fastest offenses in the NFL on a per-play basis. Talked about this last year. Chris Olave obviously is there. First-round pick, Jordan Tyson. And I think Juwan Johnson is no slouch either. At cost, he's actually one of my favorite Superflex plays this year, late in draft, if you end up kind of waiting. There's a couple other guys, obviously Baker and, a lot of the other guys I mentioned. But Shough, I think, kind of brings more of a passing, safe perspective if you're like, all right, I'm really desperate and I need some type of quarterback to plug in my quarterback 2 range every single week. So again, top 10 is realistic because he did it the last 8 games of the season.
Yeah, we'll see. As a Bucs fan, I'm not buying the Saints hype, but they were playing decent ball at the end of the year.
Hater. They were playing great football. Great football. When the Bucs were falling apart, the Saints were putting it together. Well, those are our top 10 at the quarterback position. If you like what you heard, give us a like and subscribe. If not, we just appreciate y'all hanging out. Here's to a great 2026 season. Till next week, go win a championship.
Peace.